connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
Bolt gets out pretty well, so does Rogers. Come next to him. Gordon bumps again to the sideline.
At Fusion Sport, we're all about driving human performance. We develop and support a range of technologies all designed to assist people to be their best. SmarterBase is used by hundreds of elite sporting organisations across the globe, and more recently has been used by the military and performing arts as well.
Our SmarterBase technology has at the heart of it an integrated and connected philosophy. What's different about SmarterBase is that it's truly flexible and self-engineerable. That really puts the power into our customers' hands, and it allows them to use it in unique ways that perhaps we haven't even thought of.
Between ourselves and the rest of the field, but here comes Jimmy Stone.
What's going on, everybody? Your man Eric Wilson in for the Sports Arena. Yes, on a Wednesday night, and we've got a lot to talk to, pretty much all basketball related. The crew is here with me. I've got actually, you know what? Let me start with John Shear, Fox Sports, 1340 AM, Cardiac Cane, Fin Fanatic. That brother's got so much going on. John Shear is in the building. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. And DBNA Television with Dave Bruner. We're on his network now. He has Drew Pearson, one of his shows. Drew Pearson hosts his own show on that network as well. So, yeah, that network is getting really big.
Awesome. And congrats. I saw the announcement come out last night on Sideline Sports. So congratulations to you, JB, Jake, and the entire crew, man. That is huge.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries at all. So let me go ahead and get our girl in here. Miss Megan Price is in the building. We're friends again, Megan. I just want to let you know,
Okay,
Monday was an aberration, and I had to go on Say It Again last night and, deal what I had to deal with. But I'm here, I'm back. But you know what? I will say this. The double overtime victory that the Chicago Sky had in game 1 versus the Connecticut Sun last night, it brought me back to reality. I'm good. I'm back. I'm here. Let's get it on. Let's get it popping for real.
Second triple double in WNBA playoff history, and the 18 assists were the most in WNBA history in a playoff game ever.
Yeah, that's her
insane.
second. That's her second time doing that. She did it last year in the bubble, and now she did it during the regular season, and now she did it in the playoff. Listen, if you don't know the name Courtney Vandersloot, clearly you don't know anything about Chicago Sky or the WNBA. I'm just going to call it what it is.
Right.
Because this last night's game had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. I actually had to leave, say it again, because I was like, it's fourth quarter. I got to watch this.
Right.
First overtime came up, and I was like, okay, overtime, great. Double overtime, I'm like, Okay, I'm not going to sleep tonight. That's all there is to it. And I feel bad because, really only saw the second half of the Phoenix Mercury versus Las Vegas Aces. I have to say, we're going to get into that later on tonight, especially in our smoking section, because there are some things that are happening I am just not a fan of and I'm not cool with. So more to come on that, as they say. But it's NBA. Let's talk NBA because the season is upon us. I see, Megan, you got your Spurs shirt on. So you and the rest of your crew on the sip off. I know you guys, ladies and gentlemen, are gearing up for what's, I'm sure, going to be a phenomenal season.
Right.
But let's look at it. You've got the new look Lakers, if you will. The young and hungry Orlando Magic that I'm down here covering alongside my brother Alex Fleming. And then there's these teams in the middle, which is, I'm going from one end to the other with regards to the spectrum. But let me ask both of you this question. When you look at, let's take the Western Conference first, because we've always said the Western Conference is pretty much more of the dominant division or conference, if you will. What are some of your surprises from the Western Conference?
I think that Utah will probably take a step back from their regular season success. I think they're going to be more geared towards postseason success, and that's what they're going to be focused on. So I think the amount of winning that they do during the regular season isn't going to be first and foremost in their thought. That they have to, put some validity behind those numbers during the regular season, because if you don't do anything with it in the playoffs, what does it really matter?
No, I agree. But again, what I've got to look at is, you talked about Utah. I'm going to look at Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Denver's another team who last season we had high expectations, and they came away with, not the outcome that they were looking for. But
right.
I think Denver is going to maintain their level, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them dropping off. I don't see them with the number 2 or 3 seed, though. I actually have them probably more at the 5.
At the 5.
Only because,
who would you put at number 4?
Well, what I look at is the way that Golden State is, the way that the Lakers are, the way that the Clippers are, as currently constructed. And the Clippers are based off one of your favorite guys, whether Kawhi Leonard decides to come back or not. But those are my top 3, if you will, in no particular order. And then after that, I have to say, I have to go with Phoenix just because of what they were able to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I keep them there, but don't forget about Memphis. I think Memphis has got to be somewhere right there at like 7 or 8. And then I have us probably right behind that. I think we made some improvements. We made some major changes. The Spurs are going to look completely different this season. We do have some returning veterans, so there will be a few familiar faces: Derek White, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, DeJounte. Brian Forbes is back. He got a ring. He came back. So we're going to need that shooting because we lost Patty Mills. Big loss. We knew DeMar was out most likely, so that wasn't exactly surprising. It was surprising going to my closet and realizing, I can't wear that shirt no more.
But okay, here's the one team you didn't mention. You didn't mention Portland.
I don't see that Portland made a whole lot of progress in the offseason. In fact, they had some losses. We took one of their players in a trade. We got Zach Collins, who I know he hasn't been healthy in 2 seasons, but, I still have I want to think on the positive side and say that, I hope to see him healthy out there, and I think he could make an impact shooting wise.
Okay. John Shear, let me get your insight on this with regards to the Western Conference.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be a surprise team, but I really think that the Warriors can come back into the fold. I know a lot of people have forgotten about them because Clay's basically been injured for for what seems like 2 years. I miss that guy. He makes NBA so much better. He's so much fun. And when the Warriors are exciting, it makes the Western Conference all that more interesting. So, I would have to go with the Warriors just because everybody's kind of forgotten about them. And I think they can be up and coming. And then, with them being one of the few teams with this with this COVID stuff, they're going to be really interesting to watch with Wiggins not being able to play home games. They're going to be an interesting team. That I'm fascinated by what happens with them, because if Wiggins can only play 41 games, that's an interesting concept. One of your better players not being able to play, your home games.
What about Draymond Green? Is he good to go? I thought he was holding out on the vax.
The only one I've heard so far is Wiggins on the Warriors. That's the only one I've heard that won't be playing.
Well, and he was their number 2 shooting option from last season. But Clay wasn't healthy, so you know what I mean. Like,
but he's still an integral.
Number 2 to Steph is going to put those numbers up in my opinion.
Still an important piece to them. They went and got him for a reason, and if they can only have him for road games and not even, if you're going to have somebody for half the season, you want them all to be home games, not road games. So it'll be interesting. That's a team I'm fascinated by in the West.
That is interesting. I think Steve Kerr is laid back, but he's not that laid back. Like, hey, you can just kick it on the road games.
And I think that's what we're going to have to see is how are these teams going to favor, given the fact that, if the rules are in place that in order to play, you must be vaccinated, because that has come down from, the NBA or from the state.
Well, it's San Francisco and New York are the only places right now.
Right.
There's cities that are mandating it. So right now I think it's just basically the New York teams and the Warriors are the only teams affected currently.
Okay.
The NBA tried to mandate it, but the players union didn't sign it. They rejected everything that came up. So right now it's just the state mandates.
Okay. So what about Dallas? We didn't even bring up the Mavericks. We've got, as Alex calls him, the baby goat in Luka. We've got Kristaps Porzingis. So Dallas somehow always seems to fall into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
What is your expectation of them?
I expect them to be competitive. I don't know what Porzingis' future is with them. He seemed to be on the trading block last season, and I don't know if he wants to be there. He took a lot of criticism. I know that. I would be more.
He also complained about Luka being the star and him not getting enough spotlight. And it was like, dude, you're not Luka, and you haven't exactly been the guy you were in New York. So, you really don't have a gripe. But he was griping about not being a star on the team when Luka's a star. And you can't live like that on a team when you're complaining about not being a star. You got to go out and prove it and stay healthy.
Well, and really, he's a third shooting option anyway. Tim Hardaway Jr. really balled out last year, so I really count on him to be more of the second shooting option. He really played great. I don't see that dynamic changing between the two of them. I don't like their coaching change, so we'll see.
That's interesting. Why not?
No.
I'm curious your opinion as to why you don't feel that coaching change is going to benefit this team.
I think they've been there, done that. Really just with that coaching style. So.
Megan, did they go out and get Goran yet, Dragic? Because I know they were supposed to. Did they go out and finally get him?
Yes.
I know that was a heavy thing. Okay. So I don't like the coaching change either. I'm not in favor of it either. I don't know. I don't buy into it personally.
Same.
All right. So let's talk about the teams that were not a part of the postseason. And I want to get both of your thoughts on this. The Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, the Minnesota Timberwolves, OKC, and then, of course, the Houston Rockets. Of those 5 teams, are any of those teams, do you feel they're going to maybe rise to the occasion? And let me welcome in our brother, Florida Sun and NSPN, Mr. Alex Fleming's in the building. Good evening, sir.
How you doing, guys?
Good. So we're discussing the Western Conference right now, and I the question that I just asked, and I want to go to Megan first, and then Alex will definitely get your insight on this. Of those 5 teams, do you feel any of them will rise up and maybe make a push for the postseason?
I do. I think 2 of them. I think you have to take in OKC, what they're doing over there, a complete rebuild over there. They're keeping their key players that are really good. I'm a believer in SGA. I think he's an excellent leader of that team. He brings a little bit of veteran leadership there. I understand why he had to leave the Clippers, but because of course you want Paul George, but I think he's a great leader, up and coming leader of the team. And then I also think that you have to pay attention to the Sacramento Kings. They had a great draft, and they have a lot of building blocks already there. And I think that they might put Buddy Hield on the trading block. I know he's been talked about some, so they have some playing around scenarios on who they're going to pick up.
All right, Mr. Fleming, the Western Conference, sir. We've gone through the list, but the five that I just mentioned, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Rockets. Any of those teams might surprise you and make a run in the postseason, or even get to the postseason?
I think it's actually detrimental if the Pelicans don't make it to the postseason, because we all know that Zion is unhappy there in New Orleans, and with the firepower that they have, they really need to make a postseason run, or at least have a good record to make him stay. But it's funny, one of the teams that you didn't mention was the Memphis Grizzlies. They made an appearance last year, and they did an excellent job against a team that was much better than them. I don't see anything out of OKC. They're in a complete rebuild. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to be a doormat, but I don't think they're going to make the moves necessary to make a postseason run. And I agree with Megan Price. I think the Kings have something in store for the Western Conference. They're not going to be a top 5 seed, but I can see them being 6, 7, or 8. I think the playing game is going to help them. Houston, held to the no. Minnesota, probably not. But the Pelicans and the Kings, yes. But watch those Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay. So, again, John Shear, give me your thoughts on those 5 teams.
Yeah, I agree with the Kings. I mean, they have a lot of good young talent. If Buddy Hield just stays put, I mean, I think that they really can make some noise. Obviously, they're not going to get to the finals, but they have a lot of good young talent, and I like what they're doing there. I personally don't like what Zion is doing. I feel like he just got there, and he's already demanding his way out. I don't care for that. I think you should play out your contract. I think that, whenever it's your time to go, then that's fine. But I don't like this forcing your way out. You just got there. You haven't done anything. You've been hurt on and off, and already you won out. Like what is that? Like you Anthony Davis asking your way out? Anthony Davis earned his way out. He went through a lot there, even though he was hurt on and off. But Zion, you just got there. Like, chill out. Like you don't have the right to ask your way out when you just got there. So I just don't care for that.
My only retort to that, John, is when you are a superstar that Zion Williamson is, and you've been thrown the accolades that people have thrown at him, you develop that certain level of, I guess, expectation that you can basically pretty much control your own narrative. So I get where he's coming from, but I am very much in agreement with you. You're still,
what has he shown you?
You're still new to the game. You're still new to the NBA. So let's kind of tail back the whole, I want this, or it's going to be that.
Zion has shown that he can be a dominant player, not only in the post, but in the perimeter. Zion, off of injury, was scoring a nice amount of points and was a facilitator. Once he figures out the game, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but when LeBron, I know it was LeBron, but when guys like that started out and they didn't really have anything on a team, it wasn't that they were missing the playoffs like Zion has. They were taking their teams to the postseason. I mean, Dwayne Wade, when he was a rookie, was taking his team to the postseason. They took, I believe they were the 8th seed in his rookie year, and they took the number 1 seed to 7 games in his rookie year and lost in the first round as the 8th seed. So it's not like Zion has been carrying his team to the playoffs. He's been hurt on and off. He needs to show me more, stay healthy, and get your team to the postseason and start making a little bit of noise before you can start throwing around things like that. Because other guys, when they have nothing, they can still take their team to the playoffs and make some noise, but he hasn't done that.
I mean, but he did average 27 points last season. So, I mean, he put in work last season. There's only so much you can do. He had much better games than that. He wasn't super injury prone last year. He had some minor injuries, but he wasn't injury prone last year. And they had to deal with SVG. Like, he never had the 2 best players, because it's not just Zion on that team. It's Brandon Ingram, too, who can shoot the ball very well. I don't like his physical build, so I think it's hard for him to be a great defensive player, but he's definitely great at shooting. So, I think they put in work over there, but their coach never had them on the court at the same time. How do you not have your 2 best players on the court?
Was that Van Gundy, right? Van Gundy is their coach. Yeah, he's See, I'll say this. Like, I mean, his style was great when he was on the Magic,
Right.
years ago when he got him to the finals. But it's not that style anymore. You just can't coach that style anymore. I mean, that style is gone. It's a different NBA than it was back when he was taking his Magic to the finals. It's a different NBA now, and I don't think that it's kind of like Mike McCarthy. He hasn't adjusted to the game. The game's caught up with him, and it's past him. So that's what I think of Stan Van Gundy.
I completely agree.
The evolution of the game, to John's point, I agree, has changed. And a lot of these coaches are trying to, keep what they know and do what they do. So, all right. So let's go really quick. Just give me a quick yes or no. If this team makes it to the playoffs next year for the Western Conference, and just really quick, Utah, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Fleming, Utah? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next team, the Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
All right. The Clippers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Lower seed, though. I think
be...
they're a lower seed because no Kawhi this season.
They still got Paul George, yeah.
They do.
Okay.
No, they have some.
And he did a good job carrying
them.
them, trying to single-handedly carry them in the postseason.
I just don't think he seeds as high. I just don't think they seed as high. I think they're good enough to make the playoffs, but I imagine them around 6.
Okay. So then let's go to Alex, Baby Goat, and the Dallas Mavericks.
Look for a major trade in the season. They're going to get him some help. They're going to make the playoffs.
All right. Megan, John?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Mark Cuban's not exactly somebody to sit on his hands. He cares about winning. He's one of the few owners in Texas that cares about winning. Typically, the other owners don't care so much. They just run their mouths.
Okay, thanks for the shade, John. Thanks.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I was talking about the Rangers in baseball.
No, them too. That is my team too.
All right. The Trailblazers.
I don't think the Mavericks are going to make it. Only because I think that the Mavericks are the same caliber team as my team. And because anybody that has Pop at the head is going to make a difference. But if I got to pick between me and the Mavericks making the playoffs, I'm going to pick my team.
So you're picking the Spurs over the Mavericks.
Right. But I have us going in at like 8.
Forgot about that Luka guy?
I understand, but we got a lot this offseason too. We made some changes. I believe in us. Becky Hammond, Popovich, something.
I love Pop, but I don't see San Antonio making.
Wow.
Okay.
Portland Trailblazers.
I understand. There's some, we haven't seen it yet. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but I believe in my team.
As well you should. Portland Trailblazers, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, yay.
Megan, that's a second no for you.
That is.
There ain't no way Luka and Dame time missing the playoffs, both of them. Ain't no way.
That'd be very interesting. So let's talk about then the Los Angeles Lakers. Are they getting in this year?
Really?
I'm asking.
Okay, with the Lake show of Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis, I don't see a lot of teams stopping them. The only thing stopping the Lakers from making the postseason is health. They stay healthy. So, they're a 1, 2, 3 seed.
Okay, so that means they jump from 7 to your point to a 1, 2, or 3. Because I'm going down the list as of last year.
Yeah, that nursing home will get in there, have a high seed.
All right. So number 8 was the Memphis Grizzlies. And Alex, you touched on it. So let me hear from Megan and let me hear from John. Do the Memphis Grizzlies get into the playoffs this year?
Absolutely. I think so.
Absolutely. Ja Morant is just fantastic, and he's only going to get better. And I really hope they get him help because, man, with Ja Morant, another superstar, they could be a lot of fun.
So Anthony Brown is chiming in saying, just hand the Lakers the NBA trophy. They have the best team in the league.
They're a nursing home.
That's what some people are calling them. So Golden State at number 9 last year, are they getting in?
I got them, yes, going in.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to say yes because I'm assuming that Klay Thompson will be healthy. If he's not healthy, then no. But since I'm assuming he's going to be healthy, I'm going to say yes.
All right. And then last but not least, Megan, you're San Antonio Spurs at number 10. You say they are getting in. You're also saying that Dallas and Portland don't get in.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, you're saying San Antonio doesn't get in?
San Antonio misses the playoffs. They got too much off-season moves. Popovich is looking for the record, and he's probably going to be gone. I don't see San Antonio making major moves in that tough Western Conference. I don't think so.
All right,
Okay.
John Shear.
I understand.
Nah, I agree with Alex. I just don't see it. There's too much. It's not because they don't have talent. I just think that there's too much talent in front of them in the West to get into the top 8. Because the West is not the East. The West is always tough, basically top to bottom.
Okay. All right. So that is rounding out the 10 of the 15 teams. So we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk the Thursday night football game, and then we will dive into the Eastern Conference. And I'm definitely going to sprinkle in some WNBA because I love the Chicago Sky. If you don't know that, too bad, so sad. But there will be a smoking section tonight because, like I said, there are some things that I truly need to get off my chest. So more with the crew in just a moment.
Generations Physical Therapy has been the Tri-State's leader in physical therapy services for over 20 years. And now we have a convenient location right in the heart of the capital city of Charleston, just off I-64. With convenient parking and flexible hours, your access to physical therapy is second to none. Plus, Snap Fitness is also inside with 2 floors of gym equipment and sports enhancement training through A-Game Sports Performance. So whether you're needing hands-on physical therapy or looking to get results in our gym, our family's ready to help yours. Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness. Multiple services, multiple locations. Experience you can count on.
And welcome back into the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson, alongside Megan Price, John Shear, and, of course, my man, Alex Fleming. So before we get to the Eastern Conference, let's talk about tomorrow night's Thursday night football matchup. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are headed to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. And from the looks of things, it sounds like and seems like the majority of us are picking the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why?
A couple of dollars on the side.
Because the Jaguars are just that bad.
Just don't think the Jaguars have enough talent to slow down. I mean, they just traded away C.J. Henderson, one of their young corners who is unhappy there. And now they got to stop Jamar Chase after you trade away C.J. Henderson. Who do you have to stop Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins should be back? Who do you have to stop? Maybe T. Higgins is still out. I know it's a short week and he missed Sunday's game, but there's a lot of weapons on that team. And Joe Burrow's playing well aside from the Chicago game. He's playing relatively well. I just don't see how Jacksonville stops them. And I need to see more out of Trevor Lawrence. The one interception he had Sunday, if you watch the game, it was not his fault. Not at all his fault. But Trevor Lawrence is still struggling. That offense is struggling. We need to see more out of them. I just don't see it talent-wise. Even though the Bengals are without Jesse Yates, or their
Jesse
safety.
Bates.
Bates. I had it in my head. Anyway, they're without Bates, and that's a big loss for them because if you don't know who he is, he's a really good safety. But I just think the Bengals, I don't know, I just think they're better.
All right. Well, then let's go to the Jacksonville representative here on the Sports Arena who covers them and get his thoughts and analysis and perspective on the situation. So, Mr. Fleming, please. Jacksonville and Cincinnati tomorrow night.
Chili running hot. Cincinnati's about to be on the verge of 3-1 in a division where everybody thought they were going to be the doormat. Jamar Chase has 4 touchdowns in 3 games. Joe Mixon is on the record to break Eric Dickerson's rushing record. Chase and Burrow have a connection back from LSU. They would do better if they had offensive linemen. For right now, looks like Burrow doesn't mind running for his life. That Cincinnati Bengal defense is underrated. A lot of people don't seem to understand that they're actually pretty good. You would think Geno Atkins leaving would mean something, but no. Von Bell and them boys been putting in work. Jacksonville right now is dysfunctional. They put the Arizona Cardinals on blast for one half. And in the second half, they had an offensive explosion, giving up 24 points. I don't see how Jacksonville is going to slow down Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati.
And that's what I said. I said this was a very hard pill for me to swallow because y'all know how I feel about the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel about like them. The analogy is I am to Cincinnati what Alex Fleming is to Cleveland. And Mike Harrison is to Ohio State quarterback, so apparently. So the three of us can't be in Ohio together. That's just how it is. But with that being said, I cannot ignore all of Alex's points. It's Urban Meyer. It's Thursday Night Football. He's back in Ohio. And, there's always that little piece of me that's like the man, even though it's Ohio State, now he's coming back. I don't know. There's just something crazy. Something funny's in the air. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he's been in Florida this whole year and ain't nothing there. I mean, he won 2 championships with us with the Gators.
I know. Go ahead, Alex.
I will say this. I think Urban is going to make sure that this game stays close. Now, in the press conference after the Arizona Cardinals loss, he had a nervous tick about him, and I asked him directly how the absence of Herndon and Henderson hurt that secondary. Well, lo and behold, Monday, he traded Henderson to the Panthers for Dan Arnold. He has a package for the tight end because Trevor Lawrence needs a security blanket. Don't expect the Jaguars to lie down. They're going to score points.
But at the end of the day, we're still saying Cincinnati will come away with the W. All right, fair enough. We will make sure to get that posted tomorrow. So let's move on to the Eastern Conference because, Alex, you and I attended Media Day with the Orlando Magic, and we actually got a chance to speak to a lot of these young players, these new players. And what we said was there was a new energy, if you will. There was a new breath of life in the Amway Center. Didn't have to do with the fact that it was a new coach or you have a bunch of young guys and some, quote, veterans in there, a la Markelle Fultz, Terrence Ross, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, Michael Carter-Williams. They're a young team, but they have experience, and I think they have heart on their side. What we said was, and Alex, I'll let you attest to this, you said 3 teams were odds-on proverbial favorites to come out of the East in the playoffs. I said 4, leaving space for the Magic to maybe make a run and actually get in there.
Well, okay, you take away the obvious suspects, Milwaukee, the Nets, and Miami. You got a lot of headway. And 76ers will probably make the playoffs, but they're not a threat. I love the look of this new Orlando Magic team. They have size, they have length, they got guards for days. Jalen Suggs looks like he's going to be a problem once he gets adapted to the game. I love the new additions at the center position, so that way they're not leaving themselves vulnerable down low. Mo Bamba's been in the gym. Each and every time we see him, he looks stronger, healthier, and better. I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters, but I like the energy and chemistry of this young team. And with a brand new coach in their ear, I think they can get that 7 or 8 seed.
Which would keep them, where they've been the past few seasons as far as getting in. So the consistency is going to be what I'm looking for with regards to this team. But let's talk about the rest of the Eastern Conference. Again, you've got the world champ Milwaukee Bucks. You've got, as Alex said, the Brooklyn Nets, I feel, are a team that once they, work out their stuff. But again, there's the issue we were talking about with Andrew Wiggins. Same thing can apply to Kyrie Irving. If New York City is mandating that, in order to play, you must be vaccinated, and Kyrie Irving clearly is not, then what does that mean? So 41 games where you're not going to play at the Barclays Center. And I mean, then when they do travel and they go to Chicago, when they go over to play, the Golden State Warriors, what then? So, I mean, you're missing those games. So what needs to be done, I guess, is my question.
I mean, I've heard rumors that his trade value is like nothing. So I think that you have to tough it out. That's what I've heard. I was reading something to it today. But, I mean, surely there's a team out there that wants him, but it's not going to be a playoff caliber team. Most likely doesn't want to deal with him.
I don't see what the problem is. Okay, Jonathan Isaac. Eric and I were there at the press conference, and Jonathan Isaac was being badgered about not getting the vaccine. Andrew Wiggins is a talented guard-forward. There's plenty of teams that could use his services. I don't know how he's going to play home games, considering that the mandate, but this is what I was talking about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the forced vaccination. We're not forcing you to take it, but we're going to take away your pay if you don't play. And we're not forcing you to take it, but you can't play in your home stadium or arena if you don't take it. That's being forced.
So what about Kyrie Irving then?
Kyrie. Kyrie is a head case. But every now and then Kyrie says something that actually makes sense. I don't agree with his stance on this one, but I know why he's doing it. That's why I'm leaving Kyrie alone.
But in a division that is completely wide open, and really your only true threat, in my estimation, is the Milwaukee Bucks. Do you not want all the pieces around you to be successful? And if there is a series between Milwaukee and the Nets, which we know there's going to be, and Kyrie's not available, those could be pivotal matchups between you getting the number 1 seed versus you getting the number 2 seed or the number 3 seed. You know what I mean? So that's why
I think a healthy James Harden is more important than Kyrie Irving. They need Kyrie Irving to win the championship. They need James Irving. They need James Harden and KD to beat Milwaukee.
I beg to differ.
Go ahead.
What happened games 1 and 2 without James Harden? The Bucks got blown out by about 40 points or so. Games 1 and 2 without James Harden, but with Kyrie. When Kyrie went down, I believe it was game 2, they had no more Kyrie. They got swept the rest of the way, didn't they? They eventually got James Harden back, probably about half health, but they lost Kyrie, and then the series changed. They didn't have James Harden games 1 and 2, and they still blew the Bucks out by like 40-something in each game. It was still blowout. So they needed Kyrie. They don't need James Harden as much as they need Kyrie. I think Kyrie's the guy that kind of helps facilitate things, whereas James Harden's a great shooter, but he doesn't play much or if any defense. So I think Kyrie's a bigger asset.
I actually agree with Alex this time. I think that the Nets look the most efficient when James Harden is at the one running it. And so it's not necessarily about who puts up the most points. They spread out the points better and they work more efficiently as a team with James Harden at the one. So I do think that James Harden is more important than Kyrie. Also, you have to put in the fact that his absences play a factor every single season. So, and some of it's by choice, some of it's by force. I don't want to get into that argument, but we saw some of his absences are his choice. So, that plays a factor. And I think James Harden's more important on the floor.
Okay. I take away from none of these guys and none of these athletes. But here's what I'm going to say. We can pretty much put out into the universe that the Brooklyn Nets will be in the playoffs. If they are a high seed, that means they get home games that are going to be pivotal when going up against other teams. If you don't have one of your primary weapons for these home games, due to the fact that they are choosing not to follow the rules and guidelines of the city that they play in, that's going to be detrimental. And let's say, for argument's sake, that the NBA Finals is Golden State versus the Brooklyn Nets. Well, guess what? Kyrie's not playing. Don't matter where he's going. He's not playing that 7-game series. Can you honestly sit here and tell me today, if that is the NBA final matchup, that the Brooklyn Nets are going to win without Kyrie Irving for 7 games, going up against Steph, Clay, Draymond? You know what I'm saying?
Well, Kyrie would be on Steph's without Kyrie. I mean, who's going to guard Steph? And James Harden isn't. He can't play defense. So who's going to guard Steph?
That's actually a good hypothetical, but we both know that's not going to happen.
How do we know that? Nothing's set in stone yet. Nothing is set in stone. I
never doubt Clay and Steph when healthy. Never doubt them.
Never.
Keyword, when healthy.
Right. No, my co-host Jahan just said that Brooklyn can beat them without Kyrie, but KD has to be healthy for that, and he's never healthy. We only see him in the playoffs. That's just realistic. We see him for a few games during the season. We see him like 15 games a season, and then we don't see him until the playoffs. That's what it is.
That's like Chris Paul. We always can count on him being
injured. Mr. Phillips, because I see him chiming in. I'd like to get his thoughts on this. So if he has a moment to jump on, I would love to get his thoughts on this, saying that Brooklyn can't beat Golden State without Kyrie. I would love to get his thoughts on this. If he's got a moment, I'd love to have him jump on right now.
He said they can beat Golden State without Kyrie. And I said I disagree because KD has to be healthy for that scenario, and I don't believe that's going to be the case.
And like I said, who's going to guard Steph?
No, that's true.
If you can't guard Steph, you can just pretty much count the series over because that guy will knock you right out.
Right.
I look at this and, I know we're just putting out what ifs, if you will. But I'm looking at this and saying that right now, these gentlemen know what is required of them. And they have a choice to make, and it is their choice. And I support whatever choice they make. But they also have to recognize that there's going to come a time in this profession that they are currently in where they're going to have to make a decision. You either do it and play, or you don't do it and go somewhere else and play, or you retire.
See, I think the thing with Kyrie is he really doesn't care. I mean, he's the one guy that if you took away his career, he has money. He's set. Like somebody said in the comments, like Kyrie doesn't really care. Like he loves the game, but at the same time, like he's the one guy that could say, yeah, I'm fine with walking away. Like ain't no thing for me. Like he's the one guy I could see retiring, like you mentioned. He's the one guy I could see just bolting and not giving a damn.
I want to talk about the bigger picture in the room. Why is everybody so concerned about, getting vaccinated? That's not cool. When did it become my body, my choice? When did that go away?
I'm not saying in any way on that argument. I'm just saying the facts of what is out there at this moment. Like we know those mandates are out there, so you have to deal with the repercussions of it because it's there.
And that's what I'm saying. Again, I've made it very clear how I feel about it. You have the right to choose whatever you want to do. And whatever you choose to do, you're doing it for your own interest. And guess what? I respect that. Get it, don't get it. I don't care. What I'm looking at is you're playing in the NBA. Okay? Now, the NBA tried to mandate it, and the players' union said, forget it, we're not going that route. All right, fine. But if cities that you live in and work in and play in are saying that you have to, well, then you got a choice to make. Now, he can very easily go to another team. And I'm sure there are a lot of teams who would love to have the handles and the ball skills of Kyrie Irving because they know he might elevate them. But he can't play in New York. He can't play in San Francisco.
And I'm going to say, I really think it's going to be more cities that go this way also. Like, I live in a hot zone, and I feel like if it was something that they felt that serious about, that they would do it. And so if it gets that bad in a certain area, that city may shut it down for a minute as far as unvaccinated.
But Eric, you said everybody has a right to do it or not. And then you said these guys are being forced. How's that a right? Like, if you're forcing somebody to do something, how is that their right to do it or not do it? Like, isn't that?
I'm saying the city that they live in. That's what I'm saying, John.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna stick a pin in that because, and I want to thank him for joining the show. This is Megan. I'm gonna let you introduce him because he's your co-host.
Oh, this is Jahan Phillips, my co-host from the Sip Off Thursdays at 8 Eastern. He's an Eagles fan too. He's an Eagles fan too. And in the NBA, on our show, he's the known bandwagoner. He likes somebody on every single team.
How y'all doing?
He respects the game. I can appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. So I want to talk to you really quick, sir, because you had said that Brooklyn, and I want to make sure you said Brooklyn can beat Golden State without Kyrie. So yes. I need to get your thoughts on how they doing that.
Okay, so I feel like this. It's gonna be whose two is best in that situation. And in that situation, I'm gonna take KD and Harden over Curry and Clay. And that's to me, that's what it's gonna come down to. Like Draymond is gonna be essentially a non-factor in that. Because he's not Draymond. You can't rely on Draymond for scoring. You can rely on Draymond for other things: defense, rebound, and assist. But in that instance, it's going to be that best two is going to be KD and Harden versus a Curry and a Clay. And that's why I feel like. Go ahead.
My thing is, I agree with you, but is KD going to be there?
Oh yeah. But my only thing about that is KD played a lot of basketball this last year. So that's my only issue that I would have is he played in the Olympics. He played to Game 7 with the defending champs. Then he's coming back. Like, if he did that, this is almost, 14, 15 straight months of basketball for him?
And it's not like the off season's a normal off season where you get a whole lot of rest. Like, there's this much of a window between last season and this season.
And my only thing with that is having to carry the load if Kyrie doesn't play in these home games. Because you gotta, like, I feel like they're going 41-0 on the road. I'm liking their road record, 41-0. But
that's outrageous.
But he's going to have to carry this home load if Kyrie doesn't play in his home load.
So you're saying Kyrie stays. He's not going to go anywhere. He's going to stay with Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to be traded.
No. You can't get rid of Kyrie. You can't break this big three up. You've invested too much in it. You can't break this up.
But how do you play an NBA Finals or the playoffs if you have the number one seed in the NBA and this guy can play your home games and you get into a 7-game series? How's he going to play any of those home games? How are you going to win that series if this guy's sitting out for 3 to 4 games?
Because you have to. I feel like you have to rely on the fact that, like, he's going to be there on the road games. Like, he's going to be that presence in the road games, and you take that talent that's going to be there on the road games over him not. You're willing to run the risk on that.
They just have to be strategic with his mental health days now.
Right. So, like, listen, the games that he missed, the 7 or 8 games he missed when he was pulling a Dennis Rodman.
Right.
AWOL.
Oh, he went to Vegas?
No.
Oh, I was like, wait.
He said he went to a birthday party, though. I know that.
Yeah, but when he went AWOL from the team,
Yeah.
Like, we'll call it pulling the Dennis Rodman. But
yeah,
also
he was in Vegas with Carmen Electra. Okay, let's go.
But they're also a KD on the line from being in the finals. His foot on the line from being in the finals. So, I mean, you take what you get. You take what you can get with this team. I really feel like that. I feel like this team is built to win in this team has to win, and you roll the dice on that.
But again, that's the expectation set by you. That's not the expectation set by them. And Tyler Ingram, I love him because he is a Sky guy, and I love him because he's everything Chicago. But this, I can't even. He's like, Bulls are going to wear out the Nets in a 7-game series, running them up and down the court. I just, Tyler,
I can't
love
see it,
you,
Tyler.
but I can't see that. I'm sorry,
I can't
bro.
see it.
I see them being a good team. I see them making the playoffs, but I don't see them giving it to the Nets like that.
Nobody mentioned the Hawks. Like, will they repeat what they did last year? I mean, because they gave some trouble in the playoffs. So will they do that again, or was that an aberration?
Well, what I think it was is sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And how the schedule worked with the injuries and the health of other teams, I think that's what allowed Atlanta to elevate themselves as far as they did. I think if everybody's healthy, which we have to factor in, health always plays a major role. I think if people are healthy come postseason time, Atlanta will make the postseason.
Yeah.
But I don't see them making a run like they did last year.
But they almost took out the Bucks, and Trae Young's shoulder was basically falling off. He was icing it every time he sat down. So I mean, and he still was giving them the work.
You're
right about that, Alex. What are your thoughts on Atlanta?
I warned you guys about Atlanta. I saw the pieces starting to fit with Atlanta. Atlanta is a problem because once they get the perimeter shooting down and actual low post presence, they can contend. Now they're not messing with the Nets. Let me just say that off the top. But if they're in a playoff spot where they don't have to face the Nets, bro, nobody wants to see ATL right now. That's real.
But they would see the Nets in the East Finals. Like if they made it to the conference finals, they'd see the Nets in the East Finals. Or a Bucks in the East Finals. I don't think they could beat a Bucks in a 7-game.
And that was my point. I'm like, you were talking about Atlanta, but I mean, you were talking about Brooklyn, but let's talk about Milwaukee. Okay, I was the one last season who disrespected the champs. Now it just seems like the rest of y'all ain't putting no respect on their name right now.
They don't deserve it.
How do they not? Ooh. They the champs, John.
That's aggressive. I'm not ready to say that.
They had no heart in game 1 and game 2 for the Nets, and they still got blown out. They had to go and have Harden and Kyrie out just to get to game 7 with KD's toe on the line. If it's a little bit smaller of a toe, they don't win that series. So let's pump the brakes on the Bucks being so good. They got lucky there. They got lucky Trae Young was banged up. They got lucky the Suns were banged up. They got lucky the whole way through with all these injuries. They're not going to – Lightning's not going to strike twice. They're going to get knocked out.
To win the game, though.
They're going to go back to being the Bucks, getting knocked out in the second round. That's your typical Bucks.
Wow.
The Warriors dynasty is predicated on injury.
Like, yes and no. Because they won their first one legitimately.
That's true.
Two Hall of Famers on that team.
Wait, hold on. The first one, though, when Kyrie and Love were out?
Injuries are a part of the game.
That's what I'm saying,
like making excuses.
Like the dynasty is predicated on injuries. So he's saying the Bucks.
But the Bucks had it every step of the way. It was every round. It was something. It wasn't just one round. It was every round. It just happened to be the star players were banged up or they were out. It was every round for the Bucks. It's not going to happen again because if they play a full Nets team without injuries, they're going to get swept. That's
but
what I say.
They're not playing with the full Nets squad because Kyrie's not going to be there for the home games. So
you never know if 2 weeks before the playoffs he just gets that jab. You never know.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Maybe.
Because you said it yourself. The man's got money. He don't need it.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't need it and the city that he's in, that he plays in, is saying that this has to happen, he might just either A, go somewhere else, or B, he might just say, you know what, fine, then I'm done. I'll take my talents elsewhere, or I'll go be an analyst or whatever.
Pardon me, but didn't the Bucks beat the fully healthy Miami Heat squad with nobody missing?
Yeah.
Look,
defending East champ Miami.
Just like the Lakers, who got beat in the first round. Both teams are coming off a short off season after playing in the finals. So let's not forget that. That could happen again this year to the Suns and the Bucks with a short off season. Could very well happen because this is an even shorter off season than the previous one.
Well, and Harrow had a sophomore slump. He really did.
That guy ain't even paying attention to basketball.
I was with Eric. I was with Eric last year. I definitely disrespected the champs. I definitely didn't pick them. I didn't pick them to beat the Nets. I didn't pick them to get as far as they got.
I didn't pick them to get past Philly.
Said they're missing the playoffs.
Alex, outside of Giannis, okay, what did they have? They had Middleton. Who was off and on. He was a roller coaster all season long. Okay. You had Megan's second favorite guy, PJ Walker. Okay, good guy. When he showed up when he wanted to.
Drew Holiday.
Drew. Thank you. You had
Drew Holiday.
Okay, so outside of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday, that's what you had. How could
I told you off the top after you said that you needed to be drug tested,
and I admit I was wrong. Okay.
I was wrong. I didn't think they'd win the world title.
PJ Tucker, thank you to my man Fago for correcting me. Thank you.
No, womp.
I didn't think they'd win the world title. I definitely didn't have them beating Brooklyn at all. Like there was.
What's up, Mike?
Any way they?
You want to talk about CP time? He shows up with 5 minutes left in the show.
Hey, Mike is working. That brother is calling games. He is doing his thing.
I know. I totally forgot. It's Wednesday. And I keep having games. That's why I told you at the beginning of the season. Wednesday's like I didn't mean to forget, but I was just I was just finished calling the game.
No,
Mike, you know I love you,
Yeah.
brother. You working. Handle your business. That's all.
Well, I'm done now, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of funny because I figured Alex would pick on me. I just figured Alex and I would be in the car together. It's like we're driving, taking a ride, hanging out 3,000 miles away.
All right. So really quick before we end the show tonight and get to our smoking section, which we're going to have, let's go down the list of teams who we think are going to make it in the Eastern Conference. And let's start with Milwaukee, the champs. I'm saying, yes, they go back to the playoffs, and I'll say they make a run in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to get back to the NBA Finals, but the Milwaukee Bucks will be back in the postseason.
Agreed.
We all agree on that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Next team. Let's throw it on to the Brooklyn Nets. With or without Kyrie, Brooklyn Nets getting into the postseason?
Agreed.
Okay. Next team after that. Let's go to, and I'll take my Philadelphia 76ers. I said this when Alex and I were in the Amway Center. They got to get rid of the Ben Simmons drama first. Once they do that, I say Philly will get back to their mental faculties and they'll be able to make it to the postseason.
I mean, Ben Simmons wasn't there in the postseason anyway. He didn't perform, and they still did. They won a few games.
Very true.
I begrudgingly agree.
You know what? Begrudgingly talk to me about them Atlanta Hawks then. Is Atlanta getting in, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody, okay. John? You say, okay. So let's go to the New York Knicks. Do the new look New York Knicks get into the postseason?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Okay. All right. Mr. Fleming, I'll give you a minute to elaborate on that, sir.
That magic and that spice is gone. Nolan's Noel got exposed down low. Derrick Rose, don't know if he's going to stay healthy. Julius Randle is your centerpiece. You're not catching up or sneaking up on anybody. And although I love Coach Tibbs, unless you get him some help in the free agency market, nobody's scared of that team because now you know how to play them. I think they barely missed the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the Miami Heat. Are the Miami Heat getting in?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Definitely. Oh, whoa.
Okay.
He said no.
All right. Jahan says no. Mike, are you saying yes or no? What are you saying?
Man.
Jimmy Buckets?
Jimmy Buckets.
Him and the Buckets.
I begrudgingly say yes.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter. They're not going to win.
Well, we
I
need
talk
to
about
get into the playoffs. Thank you.
All right. What about the Boston Celtics?
Yes.
No.
Yep.
Megan Price saying no. Okay,
No.
Megan, talk it. Let's go.
I don't like what they're doing over there. What's going on with their GM? I don't like his moves that he made. As soon as he made GM, the people he cut from the team, I didn't like none of it. I got bad vibes over there. I don't like it.
Wow, Megan Price saying that the Boston Celtics do not make the playoffs. Everybody else is saying yes.
Yeah.
Good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What about the Washington Wizards?
No.
Does the play-in game count? Do you count
Hell
that
no.
as playoffs?
I don't count the play-in game.
Okay.
So then no. Wow.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. So let's talk about, I'll give you two teams, both in the Midwest. We got Indiana. We got Chicago.
No to
Chicago,
Indy, yes
yes.
to Chicago.
Chicago, yes. Indiana, no.
Chicago's going to be fun to watch this year. So
Yeah, no, I
definitely.
agree. I agree. Chicago, yes. Indy, no.
So we got 3 no's for Indy, 3 yeses for Chicago. John Scheer.
I'm worried about that stress fracture.
I got a no for Chicago and a yes for Indy.
I didn't get to you yet, Mike.
I'm worried about that
Sorry,
stress
sorry.
fracture and Levert's
Sorry.
back.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what are you saying to Chicago and Indy, John? I'm sorry.
Chicago, yeah. Indy, no.
So John and Mike actually agree on something. Ladies and gentlemen, write it down. September 29th, 2021 on the Sports Arena. John Scheer and Mike Caratanudo both agree that the Chicago Bulls do not make the playoffs, but the Indiana Pacers do.
We both agree that Dallas is winning the NFC East. I mean,
Really, John? Really?
I mean, there's no other team in the division that competes with them.
Eric, I didn't bring that up. That was all John.
I know. Wow.
All right.
So Juwan, he had to step aside, but he said Chicago is in. He's given the nod to the Charlotte Hornets to get in, and he's saying Miami is out.
Bam Adebayo,
Yeah, no,
Jimmy
I got
Butler, Kyle
Charlotte.
Lowry.
I love it. And they got Kai Jones from UT.
I say Orlando gets the play-in game, and from there, I got to ride with them because, you know, I like that team. I like what I've seen so far. And as the season progresses, they will definitely show who they are. So
yeah, I have both Orlando and Charlotte in my 8.
All right, fair enough.
I had it written down, but yeah, I was counting the 8 teams because I said yes to Brooklyn, yes to Philly, yes to Milwaukee, yes to Boston, yes to Indiana, yes to Atlanta, and then for the 7 and 8, I have Charlotte and Orlando. So sorry to cut in front of the line, Eric, but I'm driving, so I just wanted to. Those are my 8 in the East.
No worries.
So, Mike, you have Indiana over Chicago.
Absolutely.
That's wild.
I'm just not sold. Look, we always talk about free agents gelling. Okay, well, Alex, I'm glad you're saying. I'm just saying. We always talk about free agents not gelling and stuff like that. Do I think Chicago individually has the talent? Yes, but I don't know if they get it together. And I just think Charlotte and I think the Orlando's improved, and I sure as hell don't think they're going to be better than those top 5 that we mentioned. Not even close.
I cannot believe you picked Orlando over Chicago. That's wild.
Well, last year, everybody, or not everybody, but quite a few laughed when Eric came to me and I said Atlanta's getting in, and Alex laughed at me too and said, yeah, Chicago's getting in, and I laughed and said Chicago's not even going to be close, and then Atlanta took off. So I like what Orlando did in the draft. I think they have the rookie of the year. I love that kid. And yeah, West Coast bias or not, I'm just saying, like, I can see them getting in the AC. If Chicago gels, then yes, they'll be up there, but they're still not going to be better than Brooklyn. Even if Kyrie, to your question, Eric, even if Kyrie doesn't play with Harden and Durant, yeah, there's no way that Chicago beats
Mike,
them. I think they'll be interesting, but
we're talking about playoffs.
Yes,
we're talking about playoffs. We're not talking about down the road.
Right.
We're not talking about the NBA
Chicago doesn't
championship.
get to the playoffs.
We're talking about playoffs.
They don't get to the playoffs, right? And they're not getting there, just like last year.
Okay, so hey, Mike, I just want to make sure you are picking Cincinnati to beat Jacksonville tomorrow night, sir.
Oh yeah, that's why I sent you all those Cincinnati pictures. Yeah, but I said Bengals.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Just Just wanted to make sure.
Oh, I did. I'm guessing we all did.
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe, yes, we all did pick Cincinnati, so I will get that done and taken care of. So we have that set for tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on the Sports Arena. A big thank you to Jahan Phillips from the Sip Off joining us here tonight, and appreciate everybody chiming in. Jahan is giving us his picks right now on Facebook. He says Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philly, Atlanta, the Knicks, Chicago, Charlotte, and he's got one more coming in, I'm sure. So we are going to do a smoking section. As always, I will put the disclaimer out, and then we will get to it. So for Megan Price, 806 on the Sip Off, Alex Fleming, Florida Sun, NSPN, John Shear, it's DB and ATV. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Make sure you check them out on DB and ATV, Fox Sports 1340 AM. Mike Caratino to Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, and your man Eric Wilson. We will talk to y'all on Monday. Well, I won't be here Monday. I said it Monday night, and I meant what I said. I will not be here next Monday, so I'll see y'all in a week. I'm going to let Mike run the show since, Cowboys won, do whatever they want to do, whatever. Anyhow, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
It's going to be Meg.
This program contains graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I got something real heavy to lay on you, man.
Now that's what I need.
Please feel free to join us in the smoking section, because we with all the smoke.
For God's sake, strap yourselves down.
Welcome into the smoking section, ladies and gentlemen. This is a chance for us to air out our grievances about certain issues that we feel are going on that we want to talk about. I always say this is for the faint of heart. This is not for the faint of heart. So if you are easily sensitive when it comes to other people's thoughts and opinions, whether you like them or not, then this is not for you. Most of the crew tonight doesn't have much to talk about. I want to check in with my man, Alex Fleming, and see if he's got anything. Alex, do you have anything you want to get off your chest, sir?
I got 2 smoking sections. I got things to do, so let me go ahead so I can get off this mic. I got business to attend to.
Fair enough, sir.
You clowns on social media, you love ripping the black athlete, especially when she's a multi gold medal winner. Simone Biles was molested by Larry Nassar and was going through some things, but yet you want to criticize her for taking up a spot at the Olympics. Well, you're going to criticize her if she didn't go. Are you going to name another Olympic athlete that's better than her or on her caliber or on her level? You got to remember, judges disqualify her and take away points for her doing certain tricks that other athletes can't do. All you clowns hiding behind social media, put the keyboard down. You look stupid even talking bad about an American representative that went over to Tokyo with dealing with depression and still won a couple of medals. You look like idiots. Speaking of idiots, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't trade a number 9 draft pick in 2020 for Dan Arnold. What the hell is going on in Jacksonville? You need all the secondary help you could get. He was actually pretty good, but since he doesn't want to fall into Urban Meyer's tactics and ways, you're going to trade him away for a bag of peanuts? It's not as bad as the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but damn, you're trying to run things like Attila the Hun. Jacksonville, be patient, because I don't know if this experiment is going to work and we're all along for the ride. Henderson, next year, with Horn and Chin, is going to take over the NFC South. Thank you, Jacksonville, for just giving people gifts. I think it's long overdue that Northeast Florida start taking.
For the last 2 seasons, one of the things that I have said is women are athletes, and we need to show them the respect and the love that they have earned. It's not that they deserve it. They've earned it. So when a woman who is the GOAT of the WNBA has put up monstrous numbers, has been in the league for over a decade and then some, is an Olympian, and she doesn't get to play one of potentially her last playoff games in her home arena because of a scheduling conflict? Are you out of your damn mind? Diana Taurasi has put the WNBA on her back and proven that whether she is healthy or whether she is injured, when she is on the court, she is a dominant force. The Phoenix Mercury are in the WNBA playoffs, and they will not play Game 3 of the WNBA playoffs on their home court against the Las Vegas Aces in their home stadium. I mean no disrespect to Arizona State University when I say this, and please believe this is not a knock on them. But when you have busted your ass year in and year out to be a part of a product that stands for diversity, that stands for equity, that stands for inclusion, that stands for women's rights and social injustices, Diana Taurasi, if there's anybody in the WNBA, she has earned the right to play a playoff game on her home stadium. Whoever is in charge of scheduling needs to be fired, because this is some bullshit. I don't agree with it. And the fact that this is not the first time that this has happened to them, it's a damn shame. It's a travesty. And people, heads need to roll.